everyone. Today I'm here with angel intuitive Barbara Calvano, and we will talk about angels. So Barbara, I think that most people know who angels are, but I wonder what is your own unique experience with them?
Great. It's a great question, Iva. And thank you for interviewing me today. It's my privilege to be here.
Thank you.
So angels for me are basically a presence of love, and they have always existed, and they are actually part of us. They're part of our bodies, in a sense, what we say our physiology. So they're an extension of who we are, because we were born from, many could say, stardust, but angels are loving beings where some people can actually see them, others feel them, hear them, know them, but their presence is always around us. And unfortunately, most people only speak to their angels or talk to their angels in emergencies or in situations where they really need some help fast. And most of the time they swoop right in. Again, many of us are probably not going to see wings flapping or somebody standing in front of us, in robes and all that. Though some people have, I haven't. My experience is of a wonderful, loving presence, as if you are surrounded in safety, protection, and just gentleness. So that's my experience of angels. And what I love in learning more about angels is that there are so many at this given moment, Iva. There are literally like 10 million angels around us. I like to see them on either side of my body. This huge army of beautiful beings, light beings that are around me and surrounding me.
And what do you advise people when they ask you that they really want to connect with their angels, but they don't know how to go about it?
Mm-hmm. Well, I get that question asked a lot. The first thing I say, if you have prayed already, if you have asked to see them, like, have you really asked the question, I would like to see you? You can say, show me a sign. You can have a conversation with them just like I'm having a conversation with you. Because sometimes people are brought up through certain religions, so they feel inadequate or something, that they have to go through some kind of holy ritual before they talk to an angel, where in fact the angels are all around us. They're just like kind of like, all right, I'm waiting for you to ask me, So when you ask them for help, they literally start applauding. Yay, they can swoop in and help us. So usually I say to someone, have you asked to see and connect with your angels? And they'll say yes. What have you what have you seen? What have you heard? Well, and then they start speaking. So our intuitive self, which includes all of our senses, is active. And in terms of relating to what could be the unknown, we have to keep that healthy. So when I say your body is a listening device, your physical body is a listening awareness receptor. If you take better care of yourself, basically you're giving yourself love. That invites more love. But the thing is to know that once you have asked to see an angel or to receive a message, it's like giving your order at a restaurant. You only give the order to the waiter once. You don't have to keep asking over and over again. So if you've asked for help on something, you ask and then you let go. Then you prepare yourself. You prepare your environment as listening, as observing. Look for a cloud, that's angel wings. Be observant for butterflies, for rainbows, for a coin on the ground, for a feather. Be observant for what somebody says. An email that comes across your computer. All of a sudden the messages start popping. A song, words of a song. So it is in cultivating that awareness that we are connecting to that vibration of the angels. The angels have a very high vibration. So probably if you're hanging out in low vibration places or with people that are gossiping and complaining, you're probably not going to see or connect with your angels. It doesn't mean we have to become prudes and become Miss Perfect. It means that if you really want to connect to the higher good, would you be willing to give up something? Would you be willing to give up your complaining and your misery and suffering? So what I love about this, the point of saying you want to connect with angels is a powerful point of decision-making for human being.
But I think it's also important to discern like the angels from the negative beings or the low vibrational beings, which can sometimes come to sensitive people and trick them and play with their minds. So what is your experience with these type of beings?
Because I don't see them so much, I try to not even give them a name, so I don't give them any power.
Oh, yeah.
But let's say this. Fear is fear. And if we live in fear, we invite more fear. Not an easy thing to do, to say, I'm not going to be in fear anymore. As human beings, we are programmed to have some fear in order to survive, right? You have to be careful. But I call upon Archangel Michael to be with me at night when I go to sleep. And if I'm doing something like this or my radio show, I invite Archangel Michael to give me a shield of protection. We work with shields, or we call them filters. Filters is a new word to use so that it can block the negative but allow the good. So we, as angel workers, we use shields, filters, and then it can go fine-tuning. You can use your sage to eliminate energies like that. But I don't give them a lot of power because that's what they like. They want you to be afraid. I don't fear them, if that makes any sense. Just like you would shut your window so you won't let the mosquitoes in. The same thing. You put on the shield so you don't let that in. I mean, I used to wear a cross all the time, and I might wear a cross again as a symbol of protection. But if we are based in fear, we will attract fear. You definitely will attract fear. And I say the big cities, if you live in a big city, like it's the best place to train yourself as a spiritual teacher.
Yes.
Because you are up against everything.
Yeah.
Constantly.
Yes.
Instead of living in the countryside where you see, like, you see some sheep and some, birds.
But there can be places actually I've been to many forests that didn't feel negative, but they had a certain presence that I didn't feel welcome.
Yes.
And the energies actually kicked me out.
Yes.
And I actually had a branch almost like fall on me. As a message that I should get out.
Yes, I have had that experience too, Iva. I'm careful of being in forests and certain places. We like to go hiking here in New York, so we'll go upstate. And I felt that also. When I'm in places like that, what I usually feel are a couple things. I feel that people have done a lot of drugs there, or there have been some violence happen in those areas. So for me, it's not necessarily a devil or a being. It's the energy of trauma that has occurred in that moment. And I've totally felt that. I'd be walking on a path, and all of a sudden I'll feel, phew. So I didn't have all the tools for protection. That was maybe 5 years ago. So that's why it's important that we learn tools for protection. If I'm going to go hiking today, I will definitely shield myself. I will probably, wear my stones, my crystals, and invite the angels to protect me.
Yeah.
And I avoid, if I'm on the path and I feel that, I just go the other way.
Yeah.
But in those places, there's,
Yeah, because
places where there's been violence.
Not many people maybe expect to encounter such energies in the wild or in the countryside.
But unfortunately, a lot of people do weird stuff in places like the forest and in the mountains, not just the big cities and whatnot. And if we're prepared for that, then it's good.
And earlier you told me about the importance of cutting the cords in order to heal ourselves and sustain our energy. Could you talk about that?
So cords of energy or attachments of energy. So we are all energy, and thoughts are energy. And what happens is that we connect to other people with our thoughts, and they connect to us. So if we are thinking of, most of us who are workers in the light, we become very sensitive to how we feel in our bodies. We're called empaths, is often a term used. So what happens is that what we need to do is we can ask Archangel Michael, who has a sword of white light, or even we can do it ourselves, is that these attachments are, if they are of lower energy, so fear, anxiety, upset, jealousy, we ask Archangel Michael to cut them. And what they are, if you think of your body like a trunk of a tree and extending from us to that person, that ex-lover, that teacher that you had, so these experiences are not just in this life. It can be also things that happened to us in childhood and even past lives if you've never had a cord cutting. So we can have connections that are with us as we walk about the day. We can feel more lethargic, we can feel confused, we can feel sad for no reason, and it can very well be it's not our energy. It's someone in our family that's connecting to us, or someone passing by on the street just feeling horrible, but their energy just connects to you because you're there. You're there.
Yeah.
So what we do is we ask to have all these cords cut, and basically you see them just drop away. They drop away. And then to be thorough, we can ask Archangel Raphael with his healing green energy to go into those cut cords and to bring that healing into our body. So this is a method that we can do on any given day. I do it at least once a day before I go to sleep. You just see your cords cut. And you may not even know where they came from, but you just know you're connected to anxiety, or you're connected to worry, stress, tiredness, the thought of being unhealthy. That's just a thought. Cut the cords.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are sending energy out to us unconsciously. So that's what it is. Most of the world is unconscious. They're thinking, they're walking, but they're thinking a lot of negativity, complaints, anger, revenge. So their energy is spewing. So it's important for us that we shield ourselves. But before we shield, we want to make sure we cut the cords. And then recently I learned, as soon as you come home, right before you step into your door of your house, you want to cut the cords. Because you've been out in the world, you just want to cut the cords. And just like that, it took 3 seconds. You just cut the cords.
Point. Yeah.
That's simple. So it's mostly because people are unconscious about energy. We want to cut cords. And then the shielding too. And also I just learned at yoga, just because we're in a beautiful yoga class doesn't mean it's all pure and perfect.
Pure energies, yeah.
So you want to shield yourself. And then after the end of class, I'm reminded that you want to make sure, if you feel any cords, just cut the cords simply, but shield yourself so you protect that energy.
Yeah.
Because you've opened yourself up so much, and you're in a room of maybe 10, 20. I was in a room with 50 people last night. There's a lot of detoxing of emotions happening. And although I feel great, sometimes I can feel really weird afterwards.
Yeah.
And I forget to cut the cords and to shield myself, because we are clearing our body, opening up with more oxygen and prana, but we also are dealing with other people's energy too. It's a responsibility, but it's not too hard to do. It's just something we become mindful of, and it makes our lives better.
Yeah, it's like what we spoke about earlier, that if you don't say no, it can affect you. Yes. But if you have this no, or this energy of that you're not letting it in, then it won't affect you. So I think it should be like brushing your teeth or taking a shower, get into the habit.
And then one last thing so that you don't have to cut so many cords, social media can be so toxic. As soon as we click on somebody's page or something, all their energy is going to come into us.
Yeah.
You click on someone's, like you can click on Marianne Williamson and you feel this wonderful positive energy, you know, but you click on someone who's a little gossipy or something, you'll feel your energy go right down.
That's a good point, because we don't think of it if this person is not with us.
We don't think of it.
We just see the images.
It's very, very, very toxic. And I've been learning, like, oh my goodness, I have to, like, cut. I may have to block someone, because we spoke about a teacher. If they're going through something and they're suffering a lot, we may have a connection that we just really can't look at it, because we will feel all of that suffering. Yeah. We can pray for them from a distance, but because we're so open and maybe connected from another lifetime or something, we feel obligated to check on them, but at the same time, we're absorbing their energy. And this could be with family members too. You know, many of us may have family issues that are difficult, and some people feel obligated to be there and take in all the suffering and pain, and we've learned that, you know, it's not the best way to help them.
It's true.
You know? If we cut the cords with a loved one, they will feel a difference too. Because they will feel like, oh, I'm not constantly giving that energy over there. So they have to become responsible for that feeling.
Yeah, that's another point, that if you cut the cords with your loved ones, it doesn't necessarily mean that you block them, right?
Exactly.
It just blocks the negative energies.
There's something called the silver cord, So we have that silver cord with our loved ones, and that you cannot cut that. But they could also be going through some like complaints and gossip and anger. We don't have to take that on with ourselves, so we can cut the cords with that. But still, our love would be them profoundly.
Are there some significant messages that you've been receiving these days that you would like to share, that the angels have been giving you?
Wonderful. You know, what I'm receiving right now is for us to give all of our worries over to them. There's a lot of changes happening in the world right now. But if we can take a moment, it doesn't have to be a half an hour, it could just be a minute, where we just take all our anxiety and stress and just give it over to the angels. They will take care of it. They are taking care of it. And each of us has a specific role in life, whether it's to be a writer or a teacher or a housewife or, scientist. Then we take the messages we're receiving and take some actions. But the main thing is that not to worry, because there's so much doom and gloom right now. I mean, I live in the United States here, and with our government and with the movement with women and climate change, there's a lot happening. But if we give our worries over to the angels and know that there is a bigger plan happening, there's a huge plan happening. And historically, we're in a pivotal moment. We're in a period of history. And history sometimes is messy. We are in a period of history. And I don't know what the outcome will be in terms of how things change. But I know it doesn't help for me to give the doom and gloom more energy. So it's my job to stay a high vibration, teach people how to stay in a higher vibration, so that we can support others who are having difficulty. Because many people are feeling depressed. Some are feeling suicidal. Yeah. And it might get worse, because we are in a period of transformation. But what we can do is we're being called to be in the light, to share the light. And that light is very, very powerful. And that in any given moment, there are like 10 million angels all around us. So in this moment, we don't have to take that desperate action. We don't have to do that. So we teach people to call on their angels so that they know. Maybe they could pick up a telephone and call someone. And they can know that they're safe and they're protected. With social media, we can see how much evil, we'll call it what it is, in the world. But at the same time, there's so much good happening. So that's the message, is that the angels are with us to help transform this world into this beautiful, beautiful vision that we have always dreamed of.